Hey folks, welcome to the Mike Lopez TV Show. I'm your host, ACMike. We'll bring you all things Atlantic City and our local region, politics, sports, dining, entertainment, and so much more. On tonight's show, our first guest is Assemblyman Don Guardian of New Jersey's 2nd Legislative District. After that, we'll have Keith Groff, developer of Lighthouse Row. So stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Our next guest is Assemblyman Don Guardian of New Jersey's 2nd Legislative District. Don, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. Great to be here. Great to have you back in Jersey.
It's great to be back, and I want to thank you for filling in as guest host on the WOND ACMike Show. Appreciate that.
It was a lot of fun. I think I'd rather take your place in Puerto Rico than in Linwood, but yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you. Listen, Puerto Rico was fantastic. I need to get there more, especially with the name ending in a Z. It's only been the 2nd time I've ever been there.
You're kidding.
It's another discussion for another time, yes. But.
So, I was lucky. Lewis was flying for Spirit Airlines. They flew down there. So probably every other week we'd fly free, standby to Fort Lauderdale and then on to Puerto Rico and stuff like that. So we were there usually 20 times a year, 25 times a year for about 7 or 8 years. So we loved it. Loved it so much that after the hurricane, I actually went back with Rotary and we went house to house with water distribution programs and gave people water. After Maria, this was Memorial Day, so it was 6 months later. No electricity, no water, rats in the streets and things. People still with dysentery, unable to take the things we take for granted, like an antibiotic. So it was a nice little give back, because Puerto Rico's been very good to us.
And that's you and Lewis, what you do. But again, thank you for doing that as well. So bringing it back to South Jersey, the Jersey Shore, specifically Atlantic City, Atlantic County. Before we get into that, Don, let folks know here on the program, know you a bit. You've been a guest on my radio show and many radio shows and throughout TV as well. But first time here, let them know about you, because very vast. I don't think we have enough time for sure, but go ahead.
I'll try to make it short. I was born in Christ Hospital in Jersey City. I lived in the town of West New York, New Jersey, until I was 11. We moved to Palisades Park in Bergen County after that. I went to Don Bosco Prep, which is up in Ramsey, New Jersey, and then came down to what was then Uppsala College in East Orange, New Jersey. After that, spent 5 years in Ocean County with the Boy Scouts of America. With them, they transferred me up to Morristown, and I carried Morris County and Sussex County for 10 years. And then I came down to Atlantic County in 1989, fell in love, and have been here ever since. I went from the Boy Scouts, believe it or not, to an executive position with the Claridge Casino. Wow. Kind of a big switch, Boy Scouts, casino life and things, but a wonderful opportunity at the Claridge. One of their gripes was that the casinos have been here more than 10 years. They tripled their budget for the city, and yet the streets still weren't clean. They didn't have an ambassador program. They didn't have special events. They weren't taking care of parks. Lighting was a problem. And so I was part of the casinos on the boardwalk in establishing what was the Special Improvement District. And then I really went there as a loaned executive from the Claridge. I only intended to be there for a year or less, but they offered me to stay on, and I did, and stayed there for another 18 years until it became part of CRDA, and then I became a mayor of Atlantic City. And when I finished that, I went up to Toms River as their business administrator. So, had both an urban and a suburban feel, and then decided to run for the Assembly, and won 2 times now. So I'm in my 3rd year and actually loving it. Made a lot of friends, Democrats and Republicans, North Jersey and South Jersey, during my time as mayor. and just find everybody now just very congenial. And it's not so much like North Jersey doesn't like South Jersey. They just don't know about it. So they don't understand about beach replenishment, about the amount of flooding that we have. That 50-mile-an-hour winds are kind of the norm for a nor'easter, and we get them a couple of times a year. And that our urban areas share the same issues that urban areas all over New Jersey have. And English as a second language provides a different challenges for our school systems. And we have a homeless situation that's tied in with both substance abuse and mental health that we need to address. And then from that, we move into the suburbs where people are complaining that they can't afford to live here because of costs, because of taxes. And then we have rural areas. We have great farms, Hamilton, I mean, the blueberry capital, and we have a very abundant sea life and a good fishing opportunities, as well as clamming and crabbing off of the Jersey Shore. So that's kind of the short life. I never wanted to get into politics. I just don't trust politicians. I'm thinking like they don't do any good. They just collect money. And so I spent my whole life after college belonging to non-government organizations, NGOs. And I would usually stay about 5 years, and I picked 2 or 3 at any given time. Usually was president at some point. So that goes from the Rotary Club in Atlantic City to establishing the Lighthouse, to helping build Gardner's Basin, to being part of the Boys and Girls Club, to being on the Chamber of Commerce, to being with the MBCA, to being with the South Jersey AIDS Alliance. So I picked 2 or 3, and I'm still active with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority. Denny has appointed me twice, and I love being part of that. And the work we can do in really building public structures, public buildings, and things.
It's a vast background, and it's prepared you for what you're doing now, where most people would probably be, or Louis would probably tell you, be done with it. But it has prepared you to take this next step. And being mayor of Atlantic City, also working with the Special Improvement Division, it's where I got to meet you as well. Yeah. But that has all prepared you too, as far as this county, District 2. Listen, you touched on it. Everything from golfing to residential to rural to city life. So it's a unique area, and with so many things to do as well. Talk to us about that, the advantages we have here.
Sure. So obviously we have a slower pace of life. Now I'm telling you that because I'm from North Jersey and things like that. So I don't think I've met anyone down here that thinks I talk slow. I'm the only one that has slowed down my speech to fit into the area. I think we have a wonderful climate. I love the beach. I love the boardwalk. I love the cultural diversity of Atlantic City. 24 hours a day, we can eat whatever we want there. I love the fact that Atlantic County is so diversified as well. And I also realize that we like to put all our eggs in one basket. So it was always tourism, and then we somehow decided that 10 or 12 casinos was going to be the saving grace. We don't need anything else. We learned our lessons there. And so looking at just announced the wonderful concept for the next 6 years and beyond of Atlanticare expanding out beyond what they're doing now and becoming a wonderful regional medical center with a school, and then coming out with some wonderful goals that they're setting. They want to increase life for people living in South Jersey by 5 years. They want to reduce the amount of homelessness we have by 20%. And they have the mental faculties that are able to actually provide those services. So what Denny, meaning Denny Levinson, is doing at the airport is brilliant, expanding the ability for us to be planning for the next generation of air flight. And the first building is up and running and packed, and the second building is almost sold out, and it's just under construction right now. So I think that's very important too. And then Stockton, where we're sitting here, both at this campus, although the limitations are now being reached because they're part of the Pinelands, but expanding to Atlantic City and then tying in with Atlanticare for future graduate programs and for bringing in third and fourth year students that are going on for their doctorate, for their to become doctors. I think it is part of the way we need to go. The issue always is not forgetting the people that we have. So, yeah, we need to create the $100,000 a year jobs, because that's what you need for a family to buy a home, which is what we want people to do. We got to be able to take care of people that decide that they're not going to continue their educational program for financial reasons or because they just don't want to. And so we just have to do a much better job of providing the skill set that individual kids are going to need, so when they graduate from high school, they actually have the skill set to get a job. So we have very strong unions in South Jersey. They have an open door in wanting to bring new students in. And I got to compliment the county on the County Institute of Technology. It's just way beyond what we thought of the place you went to have shop and things like that. Yeah, they're really, they're designing building, they're doing engineering, they're doing ballet, they're doing theater and things. So it really opens up a child's mind at a very early age, at first year in high school, to see what the future benefits are. So, I'm not the mayor anymore, so I need to work with the mayors in my district and with the councilmen and with the county executives in seeing where they want their municipalities to go and to go help them on a state level to make sure we have legislation that supports them, or that we have additional funding that helps them out. So whether it's funding, as we've done the last few years for Stockton and for Atlanticare, or it's the $100 million a year that we're doing in road repairs all over the county, or it's very direct, that $1,500 to encourage people to buy a house, and we're going to give them $1,500 toward their ability to pay taxes. And I'm very, very supportive in this year's budget, as we did last year, of putting in another $200 million with the goal by 2026 of being able to have senior citizens, those over 65 years of age, to not only have their taxes frozen, but actually to pick up 50% of their property tax on their residential home up to about $6,500.
Listen, we got about a minute left, and I appreciate you, and we're definitely going to continue this with more time. Where they can find you to the office as well, Don.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're right on Montpelier and Atlantic Avenue in Atlantic City, and we're in front of Produce Junction out in Egg Harbor Township. It's our 2 office where Vince Palestina, our senator, our Assemblywoman Claire Swift, and I operate. We have wonderful staffs, and the staffs, they provide concierge services to our constituency. But things like help with making sure that you're not having a problem getting your unemployment check or your driver's license, or in some cases helping you get on a medical plan if you don't have one, or getting into other programs. So some things the state doesn't do, but we're knowledgeable of what the county and private organizations are doing. So we refer a lot of people. We're talking about 5,000 to 6,000 people a year that stop by our offices. So we're very lucky to have a very dedicated staff that really wants to help people that are in need. And as you'd appreciate in Atlantic City, our staff, of course, speaks English and Spanish, but we speak Mandarin, we speak Bangladesh, we speak Hindi, because that's what the people that are visiting us speak as their first language, and we want to make sure they're comfortable, especially as they need services. So, I thank you. As newspapers have slashed, and as we're all cutting down our cost for providing services, we're not getting the daily newspapers and the daily news we got in the past. So I thank you for everything you're doing, and thank God for local radio for providing a direct information at the exact time that we need it.
No, and I appreciate that too. Like you said, just trying to keep it live and local, letting the folks know where they go, and to have folks like you who just don't come around sometime in September and October to vote. You can find Don Guardian, Assemblyman Guardian, Claire Swift, Vince Palestina, pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. So, hey, folks, I want to thanks again Assemblyman Don Guardian of New Jersey's 2nd Legislative District for being on today's show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Our next guest is Keith Groff, developer of Lighthouse Row. Keith, welcome to the AC Mike Show here at Stockton University Comcast. And listen, first of all, before we get into what you're doing out there in the inlet of Atlantic City, tell us a little bit about Keith Groff and what brought you to Atlantic City.
I always wanted to live down the shore, and I was in my early 20s, wanted to move down. But I grew up going to Ocean City for a week, every summer. Completely unaffordable, right? So shopping around and just only one place to go, Atlantic City. Plus I was like, all right, it's exciting. I'm 21, right? It's, great. So I bought a place, very affordable, beach, block from the beach, 3 bedrooms, like 150 grand. This is back when Borgata was getting built. And I absolutely fell in love with it right away, right off the bat. The neighborhood, I just got to know people really quickly. Where I lived before, I knew a couple neighbors, no big deal. And it's been like that ever since I've lived here. I bounced around all over the inlet, 4 different houses. I would renovate, flip, and then I built a couple homes in 04 and 08 in the inlet. And every neighborhood got to know different people and continued to build on all the other friendships I had in the other neighborhoods because it's such a tight-knit community. Love it.
And when you say that, someone who lives there and a resident as well, was in the inlet for about 3 years and down beach now, it's just a small community. People think, well, first of all, people get surprised. People actually live there? But
they don't know that section of the city as much as every other section because there's no casino there.
Exactly. And when you as a young guy coming into town, tell us what some of the, the things that attracted you, that magnet. I mean, I know you spoke of the beach, of course, affordability,
which is still, in comparison to any other short town, it's still there. The affordability is still there. The action, the year-round action, shows, casinos. I'm not a big gambler, maybe a couple bucks here and there. Right. Clubs, I was big in the clubs and dancing and concerts. And I'd have my friends, family, they'd always want to come down to visit. So it was really nice. And I always wanted to build a home, and I built a home across the street from the home I was living in, and then I just kept rolling it into the next project, what do you call it? Parlaying. I never took money out of Atlantic City. I just keep putting it in, and it just kept growing and growing into bigger and bigger. And 08 set me back like it did a lot of people, and so I took a little break. But now I'm back with full force, pedal to the metal.
So you're doing this as a young guy coming into a city that you don't know a lot about, but you know enough about.
I didn't know anybody. Right. I knew no one.
Right.
I'd listen to the Pinky Kravitz show. Somebody tipped me off about this talk radio. I like talk radio. And he would always have people as to what's going on. There's always things to get involved in. I mean, if you want to get involved, it's so easy in Atlantic City. And you get to know everybody quickly. It's not like a huge city, right? Tons of people come and go. But the people who live there, it's a very tight-knit community. And so I got involved with the First Ward Civic Association meetings with Miss Libby Wills, who's still the president. And then I met Jesse Kurtz, and I met the councilman at the time, Marty Small. I mean, I met everybody.
Sporty and
yes,
the others,
Sporty.
yeah.
I ran against Sporty.
Right, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
man.
right.
Yeah, and we've become friends ever since. The only clean campaign in Atlantic City history was me and Sporty.
You know what?
We never talked trash.
I got to get the both of you out here one day for a segment and talk about that and what public service is all about, whether you win, lose, or how to do it the proper way. Because I know that's definitely a show, because what we see during campaign politics right now, it's not what most people want to see.
I think people were falling asleep at our debate. We were just talking, being nice to each other.
Right. No, I love it, Keith. I love it. So you're doing this. You're working. You have a profession as well.
Yeah.
You're flipping houses. You're building. You got a family. Yep. I mean, but you're seeing the potential of this, of the inlet of Atlantic City, of what's going on. And, it goes in ebbs and flows. We have our ups and our downs, like out of the place, especially what you said, 2008 and the casinos and closing, whatnot. Sure. But you're not going to find that type of deal. No. You're not going to find that type of camaraderie that you find in the inlet or the down beach or the center or midtown. That's one of the things that I loved about it as well. Once I got involved, I was like, let's start networking. I call it networking, whether it was volunteering or whatnot. And that's what you folks down there have done. Now, the inlet, a mass. I mean, we've had a couple times Nelson Johnson on the show, as well as Ralph Hunter. And Ralph is a resident of the inlet, and he speaks about it for so eloquently and so passionately about what it was, and it's okay, and what it can be and whatnot. But there was so much activity down that end. And now it was so, now we see vacant lots, but at one time they were not being touched at all. No. Now what you're doing, and some of the others as well out there, is phenomenal. Talk to us about that, what you see. And we're going to get into Lighthouse Row in a minute. But the other developers, because now you're doing what you're doing. You're flipping, you're fixing houses, you're building. It's, investors start seeing this, or folks, or families. Because, listen, casinos are not. We want folks to come in. It's a family destination as well. Especially,
I say the inlet especially.
Yes.
It's a blank slate. It was jam-packed. There was no land available in the 40s, right. 50s. It was decimated in the 60s, 70s. They tore down, everything. They were supposed to build, these grand resorts, casinos, and the land was just vacant for the entire Southeast Inlet, basically. There's just a few homes, original homes remaining. So me and my family, year after year coming down to my Northeast Inlet homes, right. Depending on what road I was living on that year, we always say, man, the potential, everybody says it. Everybody who's been riding down the boardwalk for dozens of years, decades, I've always said, they ride their bike from Margate, Ventnor, and they say, why is this still vacant? Well, it's always been my ultimate dream to develop it and bring it back to what it was, and it was just flourishing with families. And in the beginning, in the early 2000s, even late 2000s, up until the last 5 years, there was really there was good community, but there was no development right. connection, or the people, they weren't really open about things. Everyone was kind of close to their chest. And then Nick and Mike came in, and John, Pat Fasano comes in, Bart comes in, and everyone just seems open, honest. This is what I plan on doing, and no one is trying to get in on that, right? And mess that up. Everyone, there's plenty of room.
Monopolize it, or
right.
Just right.
Pick off this little piece. You can't do this, and right. I want $1 million for this little piece. And everyone is playing very nicely. There's a lot of area. Everyone's got their own little areas they're trying to improve, and the Southeast Inlet's been on my heart for 20 years. And to be able to do what I'm now felt driven to do as my mission is what I'm finally doing, and I can't believe it's happening, man.
And that's what we're going to go into. So you're doing this, you're flipping, you're here, you're getting involved in the community as well. And, you're doing a great job at it. So Keith not only says that, this is pretty cool what I'm doing, and I'm flipping, I'm living here, my family's coming, friends are coming. You have this vision, whether it's through a prayer, whatever it may be. I know you're a very spiritual man, and I appreciate that when you give the praise and what you do. But you see this vision, and it's like some people may have looked at you like The Rock would look like when back in the day with that eye, like, what's he talking about? But, talk to us now about Lighthouse Row, what that consists of, and what your vision was. And then we'll talk about the views and what you may see when you walk out that sliding door.
Right. So I had a lot of land that I've been purchasing since 2008 when Atlantic City started going down. A lot of casinos closing, and I was going to auctions where 2 people were there, 3 people were, it was unbelievable. So I was just buying land, a little bit here, a little bit there. Well, over the last decade, I acquired a lot of land because I did want to go back to building. After 2008, I took a little hit, but I wanted to go back. Well, I'd pray a lot about just, God, what do you want me to do? I can't see the future. I don't know what's around the corner. What do you want me to do? Direction, just direction. I got no clear sense whatsoever to build on this land that I so badly wanted to build on. And I did a Daniel fast a couple years ago. We do it every January. And after the Daniel fast, I broke the fast on a Sunday. I woke up that Monday morning with an incredibly vivid dream. I don't have dreams that usually make sense or I even remember. But this was vivid. And it was the view. It was the view up high from a balcony of land that I didn't own, whatever. So I drove my truck down there for something. I think I was meeting up with mini golf Mike, at the North Beach mini golf. And I set my ladder up at where this vision was, set my ladder up, turned around, and I looked at the view of what would be the balconies of Lighthouse Row, and I said, this is where I have to build. It made no sense. I owned land 1 block away. And I prayed about it, and it didn't go away. It felt stronger and stronger as the days went by that this is what I needed to do. And it came to pass that I ended up acquiring that land at an auction for my max bid price that I felt I should have bid, which was $400,000.
Right.
I clicked for the last time. I said, if this is your will, God, I'm going to get it for $400,000. It went up, 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 up. I clicked $400,000, and no one else bid. And I said, God's will be done. Sold all my other land. Sold the house I built in 08, and now I'm selling my house, my shore house, to keep funding the project. I'm all in 1,000%.
That's the beauty of it, and that's what I want to talk about, because you're taking huge risk, but you're following your passion, your heart, what you're feeling, and you're going all the way in. I mean, some of these other guys you named, they've been doing it for a long time. Not that you haven't. They're working with partners and whatnot. But what you've done there, and now I want you to talk. We got about 2 minutes left. Let folks know where they can see. I mean, on this interview, they'll see Lighthouse Row, but where they could find Lighthouse Row and what those townhomes consist of, and the views that you're going to be seeing. I mean, I know you touched on. You got the lighthouse, you got the beach, you got the ocean. Go ahead, I'll let you do it.
So, other than the day on the ladder, maybe I went back a couple times between then and there. I mean, just to double check the view, especially at night. It's totally different, but. I finally got up to the second floor balcony a couple months ago, or actually about only 6 weeks ago, I guess we built it. It's going really quickly. And everyone who goes up there, it's something, it's really something. It's something I couldn't have seen on my own. Even a year ago, it seemed a little crazy. My wife thought it was a little crazy. I think a lot of people thought it was crazy that I was building there, because no one's built there in 50 years or whatever. In the Southeast Inlet. And the announcements since then that only God could have known, like KHOV didn't know about me, and I didn't know about KHOV. The fact that that's moving forward and that's coming right across the street, I think gives me some validity. I don't look so crazy anymore. I mean, that's the big boys,
exactly.
right? They're national builders. They're on the New York Stock Exchange. If they think it's good to build there, then I think I did the right thing. And regardless, really, quite frankly, I really did. I swear I went into this with, even if I broke even.
Right, you'll be okay. You feel
this is what I'm
internally
to do.
You would have been.
When I'm there, even you love the energy, and you're not like a builder. Right. But when you see like I've got the plumbers there, the roofers there, the fiberglass guys there, the electrician guys there, the concrete's getting poured. The energy is like amazing. Like on rainy days, there might be only a couple crews there, and I'm just like, this isn't the same. We got to get guys back. Now I'm like, well, this job's going to be done in a few months. What can I do now? I got to keep moving.
Land, right.
Oh, and it's in the works.
Listen, Keith, we appreciate you here. We're going to continue this conversation as we go in, and when the first tenants actually move in and what they do. I appreciate what you're doing as a resident of Atlantic City, as a fan of Atlantic City, taking that risk and doing what you're doing, bringing families also to Atlantic City while this development goes on, because what you do brings investor curious, right? They will see what's going on.
And we're anchored by North Beach Mini Golfs right across the street.
That's right.
I mean, the synergy's perfect with Lucky Snake Arcade and the Steel Pier. Right. It's all right there. I mean, the water park. We're going to be bringing families back to the inlet. It's going to be awesome.
Listen, Keith, want to thank you again. Developer, Keith Groff, Lighthouse Row. Folks, make sure you get on out there. Thank you for being a guest on today's show. We'll be right back with our next guest. Thanks, brother. Hey, folks, it's our belief here at the Mike Lopez TV Show that you, the viewers, and our guests bring the show to life. Thanks to each and every one of you for joining us. To learn more about AC Mike, go to acmikeNJ.com, on Facebook at AC Mike, Mike Lopez, and LiveWorkPlayAC. You can find me as well on Instagram at ACMikeNJ. If you enjoyed watching today's show, you can also listen to my radio show on 1400 and 92.3 WOND, or on the World Wide Web at WONDradio.com, Monday through Friday, noon till 2 p.m. And always remember to live, work, play AC, and I'll see you on the 48.